morning, welcome back to another YouTube vlog. I've just read a really funny quote on Instagram. It really made me laugh because this was me last night. 3 out of 4 voices in my head want to sleep. The other 2 want to know if penguins have knees. I mean, do penguins have knees? That was me last night. I woke up to go to the toilet at about 4 o'clock. And you know that if you wake up at that time, it's like that witching hour, isn't it? Where you get back in bed and there's all these voices in your head. And it always seems to be negative thoughts. And that's just so not me because I'm generally quite a positive person. But last night, my head was just playing tricks on me. I think it's because we'd been out to watch one of my friend's sons. He does a bit of singing and we'd been out to watch him in a gig last night. So I'd had a couple of glasses of red wine with my Sunday lunch. Then I had another glass of red wine in the pub. So I think that probably didn't help. You know, when you just start to think like so many like irrational thoughts, and my head was just playing tricks on me. So I woke up this morning and usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I do my workouts. They're my 4 days of the week that I do a workout. But this morning, I just felt so tired. I just thought, you know what? Be kind to yourself. You were out last night. You had a late night. Just be kind to yourself. So I snoozed for half an hour and then I just got in the shower and I've just walked to Chester. So I think sometimes it's all right to do that, isn't it? You've just got to kind of make it work for you. And I think that is one of the good things about being self-employed as well, because I can change things around a little bit. And I think with my job as well, I work weekends. This weekend I've been doing quite a bit of editing to get my YouTube video live, which went live last night. Thank you to everyone that's watched that already and commented. There's so many lovely comments on there. I've just been reading through them. In fact, I'm going to read a few of them to you because I just think it's so nice. So someone said, really enjoyed this vlog, Kerry. It was so relatable. Have a lovely week. Someone else said, loved your vlog, especially the cleaning and cooking portion. Things that always need some motivation for future content, suggestions, day in the life, cleaning routine, outfit inspo, and perhaps budgeting. Someone else has said, fab vlog, your pantry organisation has inspired me. It's funny, isn't it, how everybody likes different things. Someone else said, I love your home, it's gorgeous. I'd like to see more home content and advice regarding styling your home, shelf displays, colours, furniture placement, etc. Would you say use neutrals generally, introduce areas of colour throughout, art and some accessories? How do you know that works? So I love these comments and I find them really helpful. So it just gives me ideas and inspiration of what to talk to you guys about. So thank you so much for the comments. They're not lost on me. I read every single one of them and I try to get back to you all too. So we went to a lovely arts and craft fair yesterday. It was a Christmas fair at a local place nearby called Rig and Furrow, which is a brewery. It's a local brewery and they brew their own beer. And it's got a really nice barn that's got like a bar in that you can get nice hot chocolates and beers and wines and things like that. There's also a barn next door and that's where they usually have weddings. But yesterday they had it set up with loads of different stalls and it was kind of arts and crafts. It was a Christmas fair. So we went there for a little wander around and it was so lovely. The standard there was just so high quality. It was amazing. And then they had a few food vans and things like that. Is it? Thank you.
Yes, it does. It smells Christmassy.
It's really good.
I did a black and white an art teacher and everywhere we went.
So it must be amazing to work on a machine like that.
It is. There's a little video running on.
Yeah. It must be quite young.
Okay, it's on both sides. How lovely is that? It was so nice to have a wander around. One of the suppliers is called 9 Times Vodka and they make vodka in North Yorkshire. And I've actually been chatting to Helen, the owner, on Instagram quite a bit. So walking into there yesterday and seeing her there, it was so lovely. I had to do a double take at first because she kind of went, oh, hi, lovely to meet you. And I looked up and then I looked down at the branding and I was like, oh, Helen, hi. Because, you know, when you chat to people on Instagram, you don't always see their face. She sees my face a lot, but I don't see her face. So that was really lovely to meet her. So I was chatting to her for quite a while. The cocktail recipe that she made there was so nice. It was a bramble, and I'm definitely going to try that. I'm just sat at my computer now. I'm going through some emails. I've got to do some editing for a HelloFresh video. I cooked one of their meals last night, so I'm just going to edit that and send that off for approval because I've got to post that later today. But it was so delicious, actually. It was lamb. I don't often buy lamb, but I saw this recipe on the HelloFresh website and I thought, yeah, I'm going to order that, and it was so tasty. So I'm going to do that, and then I've got some other emails to get back to, so I'm going to get on with that now. It's now the following day, and actually today is the 11th of the 11th, which is actually a really powerful day for manifesting. I don't know if you believe in things like that. It is one of those that some people think it's a bit woo-woo, and it's very kind of Marmite, isn't it? So I don't want to go into too much detail in that. But I'm just lighting the fire because I'm going to be working in the lounge today. I'm going to show you some shelf styling and talk through some of my tips and tricks for styling shelves. So I'm in the lounge and it gets really cold in here. I don't know why. We've only got a smallish radiator in here, but also it's the floor. The floor is always freezing cold in here. I wish in a way that I'd gone for underfloor heating, because I think that the cold rises from underneath this floor. It was a concrete floor, and it had floorboards on it, and then we've put engineered wood over the top. And it has got an underlay under there, but it just gets really cold in here. So I'm in here today, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to light the fire, because I'm actually out tonight, so it's not going to be lit all day. It's just going to be lit for a couple of hours while I'm in here. Tess is just coming to say hello. He's having a big stretch. It's such a cold, dark, rainy day. It's just not stopped raining since I opened my eyes this morning. It might look quite dark and gloomy when I'm trying to film in here, but fingers crossed it will be fine. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk to you today about open shelf styling. I personally think that every room should have some kind of open shelving, whether it's just one singular shelf or whether it's a bookcase, or like I've got two shelves stacked above each other here. But I just feel that open shelving adds so much character and so much interest to a room. You kind of walk in and you don't really know which direction to look in because you've got so many gorgeous things around. And the items that you display on them should be quite personal to you. So I will show you how I style and the tips that I recommend. What I'm going to do is empty all the shelves, because you'll see here that they are starting to get very cluttered. I go through phases where when I'm doing my styling videos for Instagram and for YouTube, I basically steal things from different areas of the house. So now and again, I'll take things off these shelves, or I'll just use them as a bit of a dumping ground. You can see here, I've got hair grips. I've got these picture hooks. These are what I use to hang pictures on my picture rail. I use this brass wire and then these brass hooks, which I'll show you more of in a minute. I've got incense sticks, I've got, tags from things. It's just become a bit of a dumping ground. And then here are things that I've been using for styling, so different rugs. I've got my big Christmas bauble there, a spare lamp. I end up just kind of stacking things up because I don't know where to put them. So what I'm going to do is completely clear this area and give the shelves a good wipe down and start from scratch. Step 2 is to give them a really good clean down. So next up, you can see here that this is wobbly, which is not good. So I'm going to remove this shelf. it there for now. And the problem is this bracket here. It's coming out of the wall. Looks like it's the actual plug that's coming out of the wall there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew this and have a look. So here we've got my girl drill and my little box of drill bits and screw heads. Can you believe that this was one of the first purchases that I made when I separated from my husband? He took all the tools with him. So the first thing I did was go out and buy a new drill, which I like to call my girl drill, and this little box of bits came with it. It was from Costco actually. So I'm just gonna see if this works in here. And it does, but might be quite tricky getting the drill in there, but we'll have a go. That's not going to work. Maybe I'll just do the screwdriver. It comes with this little handy screwdriver, so I'll try it with this instead. Slot back in there. So yeah, what I'm going to do is see if I can find a longer screw to go in this top one, longer than that, so that it'll grip into there better. I'm just going to go and get my box of screws. Right, here we go. That one is a little bit longer and a little bit fatter. Actually feels much more solid. That feels much better. Next tip would be to vary the grouping. So I'm going to start off by adding this lamp into the corner because that's where it always lives, and there's a socket underneath. Clusters of 3 work really well. So the next item I'm going to add is this very handsome James Bond print. Because you can see there you've got varying heights. So you've got the lamp, which is nice and tall at the side, but then you've got the print, which is a little bit higher. And then I'm going to pop this candle holder in the corner. So there you've got your first little grouping going on. So my next tip is to use a pile of magazines or books to create some height. And these are also great to use as kind of a tray to centre items as well. So here I've used a pile of magazines. I subscribe to Living, etc. I like to keep them. I'm a bit of a hoarder when it comes to magazines. But I just find that even though we've got so much inspiration in things like social media, Pinterest, I still love to look through a magazine. And for example, I've got here the December 2015 edition. So it's coming up to Christmas. If I want a little bit of Christmas inspo, I'll pull a few of these out, the November, December editions, because that's where you'll find all the Christmas styling. And actually, it's funny how things come back around again. Like even 2015, 10 years ago, you look and they've got the honeycomb decorations and things like that. And you think, yeah, actually, I can get those out again, and it just gives you some different ideas. So I like to use these for styling. I think they're perfect to have stacked on shelves. Again, just interior books that I've collected that I love to look through. So I'm going to put these on the shelves. So I've put a pile there and I've put a pile of magazines here. And then I'm going to put a pile of books. But what you don't want to do is stack them directly on top of each other. You need to stagger them. So I'm going to move these ones over here. And already you can see that that makes such a difference. And then it's good to have a little bit of negative space. So leave a little bit of space there. And then on top of here, I've got these two like paperweights, which are made from concrete. A great company called Dallamano. They're on Etsy. I'll link them below. They do loads of different concrete products, which are all amazing. So I'm going to put those on there because they fit perfectly. And on the top one here, I'm going to put a plant. That is another tip. Use plants because plants are reasonably cheap and they just bring a space to life. But also a trailing plant like this, oh, I've just dropped a leaf. A trailing plant like this draws your eye up so that your eye's not just going along the shelves, your eye's being drawn up as well. So I'm going to pop that on there. So next up, I'm going to look at this space here. So what you have to do is look what you've got there, think about having a little bit of negative space, but also if I put something like this here, can you see how it's just the same height and it just looks really boring? There's nothing that excites me there, doesn't add any interest, your eye's not really drawn to anything in particular because there's too much that is the same there. So I'm going to take that off and use it at the opposite side. And what I'm going to do is add these books. So these books are perfect size because they just fit under there nicely. So I'm going to put those standing up. So you've got the lines going across and then you've got the lines standing up. And then next to it, I'm going to put a vase. So this is quite heavy, that's why it needs to go on the bottom shelf. So if I put that in the middle, it's just too symmetrical. It's too kind of evenly spaced. So I'm going to move it to the side here. And then that gives me a bit of negative space there, and these are styled next to each other. And I'm happy with that, that looks great. So the box that I've moved, I'm going to style over here. But again, don't want to stand it directly on top of those. So I'm going to put it at this side, there. I'm going to move the magazines in a little bit. Next tip, I've lost what number we're on to be honest, but I'll put it on the screen, is to add a few random objects. So here I've got a number which I just picked up in a vintage shop. I think it's kind of a cricket score number or something like that. But I love it because it's monochrome, so I'm going to just shift the plant over a little bit. Try to do this with one hand. And I'm going to just prop it up at the side there. Then I've got this, which is brass, and it adds great texture, and it's just something that's a little bit different. So I'm going to put that aside here. Turn the plant a little bit so you can see it. Perfect. And lastly, I've got this Jonathan Adler pill, which is just a bit of fun, I think. I think you could use it as a paperweight, or you could use it as a bookend, but I'm just going to pop it on the top of here. And then I've got the space here that I need something for. So I've got this black vase that I'm going to put there. And then put these next to it. So another tip is to restrict the colour palette. You can see here that there's a bit of a theme running along. I've got greens, I've got neutrals, I've got the pops of black, and try and restrict the colour palette. Use colours that you've already got in your space. So in here, it is very much neutral with just different block colours. So I've got a block colour around the bay window, but the rest of the room is fairly neutral. Also, consider where you are styling your shelves. So if these were in the kitchen, I would be able to put plates and teapots and things like that on, but it would look a bit odd in the living room if I suddenly started putting plates and teapots on. So consider the space that you're actually styling. I'm really happy with how these are looking. There's a few little finishing touches. I've got another plant here, which I'm just going to pop under here. Get rid of a few of the little dead bits. And then I'm just going to put this candle there on the corner. My next tip is to add some artwork. Because these shelves are on this big wall, which is quite a high ceiling, I don't want to leave all this blank space here. So that's why I'm adding some artwork. So I've got this picture here, which I really love, of a couple that are underwater. And it's very handy in here because I've got the picture rail that runs along the top. So basically I use this brass wire and then just hook them on so that I can move them around and I don't have to put nails into the wall. So I'm going to hang this up here. About there. Make sure it's straight. I think that's straight. Happy with that. And then I've got this very cute giraffe, which I'm going to pop here. I've already got nails in because I've had this on here before. So I'm lining that up with that line there. So that naturally just brings all this area together. Really happy with that. And then I've got one last print, which I've had for ages actually. And it used to be on the back wall, but I've not had it on there for a while. It's just been propped on the floor, and that's this one. And actually it's a bit discoloured, if I'm honest. It's got a bit of discolouring in it, but I don't mind that because it gives it a bit more of an antique feel. So I'm going to put that one up here. It's not quite straight, so I'm just going to adjust that. I've emptied this basket out a little bit as well. I'm going to pop that back in the corner because that was overflowing and it was just looking too full. In here, I've just got some books that I like to pick up quite often. So they are just living in there. Books and magazine storage. There's Chester just snuggling on the back of the sofa. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. It feels so much better. What do you think? They're also a really good way to break up any wall space, especially in like a living room or a kitchen where you want a space to feel functional, but also you want to have the decoration side of things as well. They add structure without feeling too built in or heavy. One of the other great things about open shelving is that they're so flexible, so you can change them up seasonally. So for example, I'm going to be decorating for Christmas come the end of November, so I'll just probably switch a few of these pieces out for Christmassy pieces to give them a more festive feel. Definitely a bit of a creative outlet for me. I do really get a lot of enjoyment out of seeing all my like special pieces out on display. To be honest, it's not about perfection. It's just displaying the things that you love and styling them how you want to. So although I've given you lots of tips there, just have a play around and just enjoy it. Move things around. You should be able to tell by looking at things whether they feel right or not. You know, look on Pinterest for a bit of inspiration for the area that you're looking to style. So if they're bathroom shelving, have a look through, and you can always then just use the pieces that you've got and style them in a way that you've seen. So for example here, you might not have all these exact same pieces as what I've got, but that's fine. I'm sure you've got other pieces around the house. Shop your home as well. That's something that I love doing. So sometimes I'll go into the kitchen and I'll take a vase out of there and I'll use it in here and vice versa. So yeah, you don't have to go out and buy a whole load of new pieces. Just go and pick up a few cheap plants, you know, go to charity shops, get a few books, and you can just start to collect things and start to build it up. And then when you're on your travels, you might see something that you think, actually, that'll look really nice too. And then there are your special memories that you've collected on the way and they all mean stuff to you. Here's another area of the lounge which is styled, and this is just on top of my mantelpiece. The fern plant, however, is not enjoying the heat from the log burner, so I'm going to have to probably move that at some point. And I'm going to fill that with Christmas baubles, and again put a wreath on here and just make it really festive. So I do love to play around with things like this and just change things up seasonally. I've also got my cabinet, my glazed cabinet, which again you can see. I'm going to open the doors for you. You can see in here that I've got the rule of 3 there and the rule of 3 there, the tray with the 2 ornaments on top. And then I've stacked some books vertically and I've stacked them flat here. So the similar kind of process to what I've done on the open shelves there. I've got a very quick turnaround because I've been invited to an event in town tonight, so I think I'm going to get the train in so that I can have a few cocktails, because I've been invited along to Fred's inside Fenwick, which is a restaurant that's been taken over by Barber for the festive season. So I've seen a few snippets of it and it looks really, really cool. It's on the lower ground floor in Fenwick and it looks like a really cool, cosy country retreat. And they've basically, Barber have wrapped it in their winterberry tartan just for the festive season, which is exclusive for this season. And they've got a really cool menu, some like festive cocktails and nibbles. So it looks like the perfect place to just pause when you're shopping and just sit and have a few cocktails and just kind of catch your breath. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. But also Fenwick's Christmas window is now live. It went up a couple of weeks ago, I think around the 5th of November, which is such a huge family tradition in Newcastle. Everybody likes to make a big deal out of it and have a day out to see what the Christmas window is. So spoiler coming up, this year is Christmas Carol. So I'm going to show you that as well while I'm there because I'm dying to see it. So yeah. Quite good view. That was such a lovely evening. The cocktails were so nice. The one that I was drinking was called a Rudolphini and it was vodka based, which is my favourite tipple anyway. So it was so delicious. Got a bit of a wine head this morning, to be honest, because I had that and a couple of glasses of champagne. And let's face it, I am such a lightweight. But yeah, I would definitely say if you're shopping in town to stop off there for a cocktail and a bite to eat, because it's just such a lovely little spot. It's amongst all the Christmas decorations on the ground floor as well, so it's a great people watching spot. But I'm going to sign this video off there, so I really hope you've enjoyed watching it, and I've got a busy week next week. I'm in London, so I'm going to show you what I get up to, what I'm wearing. I'll show you a few Christmas scenes from down in London, I'm sure. And if there's anything else that you want to see, please pop it down below because I do find that super, super helpful. But I will see you next Sunday. Bye, have a good week.